Whoa. Good morning. Happy Wednesday, yay! I hope you've all enjoyed the past week of carol services and feel the holiday spirit already. I'm so happy and thankful to have the chance to speak in front of you. For the past couple of months, I've been patiently waiting for the wisest of words to spark, or at least a cool line to begin with. I was hoping that by today, I'd have it all figured out and somewhat together. As soon as it hit me that this wasn't going to be the case, what inspired me to begin writing was when I thought to myself that the least I can do today is be honest. So, my name is Fabiola, and I have a drawer. It's more of a box, but I like to think of it as a drawer because you can open it and close it, and it can be empty, and it can be full. Drawers are great. They keep us organized. I have drawers all over my room, in the closet, and in my desk. Though this drawer I'm referring to is in my head. It's deep and metaphorical, but it's simple. It works exactly like your typical drawer. I open it and close it whenever I want to, and I store as many things as I like. This drawer in my head isn't the most organized, not gonna lie. It's a bit cluttered, and overall, this drawer typically remains closed. It subconsciously came about through moving quite often when I was younger. So born and raised in southern Mexico, in grade 1, my family and I moved to the United States. Like many families in Mexico, moving abroad and learning to speak English meant greater opportunities and a better quality of life. 2 years later, we moved to eastern Saudi Arabia. The Middle East, although very different from anywhere else I'd ever known, I loved. Throughout the frequent moves and travels, which were really under my control, I learned to just go with it. Moving meant a new chapter, a new experience, and my siblings and I were thankful. After 4 years of living abroad, the next order of business was to move back to Mexico. I loved living in Saudi, and I didn't like the thought of leaving all my friends and classmates who would stay. Despite the feelings, I couldn't dwell on them. I knew that every time I thought of going back, all it would do is make me upset. So I began to grow this mindset that I wasn't going to dwell or openly feel bad because it wasn't going to change the situation. In a few months after moving back to southern Mexico, I read a quote online that stuck with me. It said, "If you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, then change the way you think about it." So 5th grade Fabiola was like, perfect. That was my new mental motto. If I couldn't change something I didn't like, all I had to do was change the way I thought about it. So this is what happened. That quote did 2 things. The first thing that it did, it helped me be optimistic and ease the transition. It allowed me to embrace the little things and reminded me that things were gonna work out wherever I ended up. The transition was interesting, but it worked out very well. I slowly got my Spanish back and the cool Mexican slang I often struggled to keep up with. I met my best friends who to this day, though we only actually talk every couple of months, I send daily memes to. The second thing that this quote did was subconsciously make me suppress a lot of feelings. It wasn't just the idea of embracing the moment and being optimistic. It was also more of like, hey, do you feel sad? Well, don't. You can't. So remember the drawer I referred to earlier? This is what I did. I take the things that stressed me out, made me upset and sad, or everything I felt that I just didn't want, and I'd put it in this drawer in my head, and I'd shut it. We didn't open the drawer, we didn't talk about the drawer, because all those things made me feel sad or some type of way, and I didn't like it. As I got older and moved once, twice, 3 times more, I refused to let myself feel sadness or nostalgia, and I couldn't really properly get closure. And that part of me would remain in the drawer instead of allowing myself to be honest. This had always been on my mind, and I put it off every time because I told myself there were other things to focus on. There was no time to dwell on the past, and I just had to accept the fact that the end of chapters in life only mean the beginning of new ones. This drawer of mine, it's a work in progress, for sure. I'm slowly getting better at opening it more often and decluttering it. I put my chapel speech in this drawer for a bit, and every time a friend asked me how the writing process was going, I wouldn't even panic. I just put the comment in the drawer and reply with, we don't talk about it. I knew I had to open that drawer for today, and that stressed me out. But here I am, it's all good, it worked out, the drawer has been opened. With this, I realize how important it is to feel. Feel anything, feel everything. Feel sad, feel happy, feel angry, feel nervous, feel fear. The importance of telling someone about it or writing it all down and releasing it out of your system. I realized the importance of opening that drawer and conquering it. The importance of feeling self-compassion and taking care of yourself. I told you in the beginning that today I was going to be nothing but honest. And the willingness to open up this drawer and be honest with myself came from my friend Alan, who recently made me feel the need to do so. So Alan and I became friends in grade 6. He was in the grade above, but we went to small schools in Mexico, so spending time together was not difficult. Him and I, along with our friend Santiago, were the best of friends. Your true squad goals. We were invincible. Every day on the bus home from school, we jammed to all the old school hard rock heavy metal bands. Guns N' Roses, Aerosmith, Avenged Sevenfold. The list goes on. It was all music in English, so we felt even cooler. 2 years passed before my family and I moved back to the Middle East. It was bittersweet to leave for sure, but I knew Alan and Santiago were my buds for life. Months later, I received news from Alan about some sort of tumor on the side of his chest doctors had all of a sudden found. It ended up being cancerous, and Alan began chemo shortly after. 3 years went by of good weeks, bad weeks, surgical procedures, and chances of getting all cleared. The few days I spent in town every year made up for all the months of being apart. On March 5th of this year, Alan's heart stopped in the middle of the night, and he didn't wake up the next morning. It was a Sunday, and I was heading back to Walker after brunch when I got the news. That day, I felt so much and so openly. Instead of setting it aside and putting it in the drawer, dealing it on my own some other time, I felt, and I let my roommate take care of me. I called my friends from home, and we laughed and cried and reminisced and cried some more. And for the first time in a while, I let myself feel as we took care of each other. 5 days later, I sat on our hotel terrace in Phnom Penh, Cambodia. A part of our service trip was doing some journaling every night, so I looked forward to the time we had to reflect. On the first night, I wrote about Alan. I wrote about all the good times, the not-so-good times, the same 3 jokes he'd always make, and the same albums we'd constantly listen to. Anything I remember, I wrote down. And when I put down my pen and I closed the AC journal, I felt at peace. At peace after having released quite a bit in me. At peace at the thought that Alan was no longer in pain and in a better place, wherever that may be. At peace to know our friends were in town and would attend his service. At peace to know, though even life goes on, I'd never stop to cherish all the times we spent together. Alan's passing was a reminder to me that life is precious, time is precious, and life is short. And for this reason, I looked at the bigger picture and asked myself why I feel the need to hold on to so many things that prevent me from being at my fullest. I had nothing to lose by taking care of myself. And slowly but surely, I've been opening up this drawer of mine more and more, and I make the conscious decision to acknowledge and embrace rather than suppress and avoid. I've begun to feel compassion for myself. And when I feel self-compassion, the care I have for others just grows more and more. It feels good. It feels right. It feels good to want the best for yourself, and it's just as great watching the people around you thrive on their own. With compassion comes loyalty and support and all the good energy that genuinely makes me feel so content and full. It's the reason why I replace day with yay in each day of the week, because it's a simple reminder that every day is a good day to have a good one. Grade 11s and grade 12s, whatever it is that you feel, you go feel. Feel sad. Feel sad, feel happy, feel nervous. It means that you care, and that's a good thing. Go thrive and do your thing. I hope you believe in yourself as much as I believe in you. And while you're at it, take the time to tell the people you love them, and let them know how you feel. Most importantly, let yourself know how you feel. Think about the things that keep you up at night. Think of something that you struggle with, but feel you're too privileged to complain about. Friendly reminder that it matters and you matter. You are living, you occupy space, and you have a mass, so you matter. Your presence, your presence at Applebee makes a difference, so think about those things that make you feel good and not so good. And show compassion for yourself. We need a kind of love for ourselves that accepts our past and our present, is able to be forgiving, but also warmly encouraging. With this kind of love, we can choose to have compassion for ourselves and for each other. As I continue to strive to embrace the feelings and the drawer, I hope you take care of yourself and embrace your own. I'll be around for the next couple of months, so feel free to let me know how it goes. Now, would you please rise and sing the hymn number 460?